Sir, good morning, sir. Ranganathan, sir, can we able to start the session, sir?
Good morning, Satya. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir. Can we start the session, sir?
Oh, sure.
Small introduction.
Okay, sure. Go on.
Okay, sure. Thank you, sir. Very good morning. Very good morning, dear leaders.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. It's been a pleasure to meet you on once again in this NVT empowerment session. It's the 6th week, continuous week we have been meeting. To make this event much more bigger, we have been having a very inspiring person today, through R. Ranganathan, sir. NVT is being founded by alumnus of IIT, CEG, and RLI in a vision to inspire the world by technological inventions and innovations through neurotechno corporate research and training in the field of safety, disruptive technologies, and quality. NVT is having a 3 verticals: technological research, auditing, and corporate training. Today, we have been having a most special person, through R. Ranganathan, sir, who is a technocrat, entrepreneur, language expert, photographer, and poet, who's been a highly inspiring person by his action and achievement. He's a man of simplicity. He's been a person who's been giving a lot of good practices which has been followed by Japanese to our country. Sir, we have been honored to have you on this screen. And once again, thank you for allocating your precious time to address us in this KIKEN YOCHI hazard prediction. Thank you, sir. The virtual screen is yours. You can able to continue the session.
Okay, thank you, Satya. Satya is like a younger brother to me from CEG. So, அதனால வந்து தம்பி சத்யா மற்றும் எல்லா நண்பர்களுக்கும் காலை வணக்கம். உங்க எல்லாரையும் சந்திக்கிறதுல ரொம்ப மகிழ்ச்சி. நான் வந்து இன்னைக்கு சொல்ல போறது நம்ம எல்லாருக்கும் தெரிஞ்சது, ஆனால் நம்ம எல்லாரும் செய்யாது. வருமுன் காப்போம். That's prevention is better than cure. Okay, we have been always saying மோட்டர் சைக்கிள் ஓட்டுறீங்களா ஹெல்மெட் போடுங்க. பட் நம்ம ஹெல்மெட் வந்து பெட்ரோல் டேங்க்கு வைக்கிற ஸ்டேஜில் இருக்கோம். ரோடை எங்கேயும் கிராஸ் பண்ணுறோம். The only difference between us and Japanese is the practice. So unfortunately, we haven't got into that line of practicing things. So இன்னைக்கு வந்து I'm just going to talk to you about how the Japanese are processing whatever they are saying, and we would like to see what is it that's happening now in Japan under this scheme, what we call as KIKEN YOCHI. KIKEN YOCHI is nothing other than hazard prevention. That's what I said. Prevention is better than cure. And Japanese have got a proverb which says, reaching the temple is much more important than the prayer. So the process is more important. Let me share my screen. Satya, you will be sharing my screen, or I should screen?
You can share, sir. You can share.
Okay.
I made you as a co-host.
Okay, let me just see. How do I share this stuff? This screen is scary.
So I can also able to share, sir. If you can,
Yeah,
if you can able to mail me. If you can able to mail that, I can able to share that.
I was sharing all the time, and I don't know where the thing has gone. Just a minute. It should be there. Yeah. Okay. I got it here. Share screen. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me make it full screen. Let me just close it down and come back again.
Sure, sir. It is visible, sir.
Okay, now it's okay, fine. Now, right, this is called the KIKEN YOCHI. Now you are able to see the screen. Okay. What is the problem with this guy? I don't know whether he's got goggles to wear or he's not wearing a goggle. So that's where most of we've got welders who have been taught that they should keep the eyes protected. But many times I've seen welders not doing that. Even in my own flat, there's a guy who is repairing his lift. I've been advising him, but he's not doing. Okay, what makes Japan a very different country on this? Okay, for small Japanese train their children when they are young. This idea of safety is ingrained into the children right from the time when they were young. Okay, there is a movie which says Hajimete no Otsukiyai. It's my first errand. You can see very small children, 3 years, 4 years, going on family errand. The mother or father will say, go to the nearest shop, buy this thing, they'll go buy vegetable. Of course, this movie was, when it was made, there was a television crew that was there, people, but still, I've seen this happening. There are children who go to school by themselves, and they take a train, take a bus, change bus, everything, and then go. Now, in the villages, when the children are there, and the village schools, when they are within 5 kilometers, when they are in primary school up to the 6th standard, they have to walk. They cannot, the parents cannot go and drop them. Namula, all parents, they try to take them by their car or something. Their children will have to go by walk. Only when they start going to the high school, they can go by cycle. Middle school, if there is a bus, they can take the bus. So the idea of people can travel safely gets into their mind when they were young. For only one reason, the parents, the society tells them Japan is a safe country. The idea of safety is ingrained into them from the young age. And they call it as safety first, Anzan Daiichi. Of course, people think Anzan Daiichi is a Japanese word, so should have been got into the thing from Japan. But actually, Anzan Daiichi is born in US, then it has come into Japan. In the US, early 1900s, the US Steel came out of the concept, safety first, quality second, and production third. Okay, so if you go to any Japanese company, there is always a flag flying at the entrance. It's a white flag with a green plus which is called the safety flag, and that is called as Anzan Daiichi, safety first. And many companies, they also have a board, I'll show you later, that this company never had an accident for so many days. The idea is not to boast that they've got a company which is running for last 3,000 days without an accident, but tell all the employees, you kindly don't change this board. Every time they see the board, they think, already we have been doing 3,000 days, let me not be the person to change it again, start from zero. So, Anzan Daiichi, safety first is their slogan, and that has come from US. And then when introduced as a company policy by Albert Henry Gray, the president of US Steel, work-related accidents were immediately reduced. The idea, once it is given, people will follow it up. Quality and productivity also improved, because once there is safety, there are going to be less accidents, less employees are going to stuck with the accidents or injuries or something. So people will work more without any trouble. So productivity will be improved. And when the guy is in a better environment to work, he produces better quality also, leading to great success. In time, safety first slogan spread across US and then throughout the world. Now, Japanese are very serious about safety first. Everywhere there is conscious of safety. In Tokyo, the electric trains are running every say the train is running in a circular route and number of trains. In one of the trains, the station has got a very curved platform. Therefore, at a particular point, there is a gap between the train and the station. Unfortunately, one lady, when she was rushing into the closing doors, she fell into the gap. So immediately the bell, because I'll also show you later by a small video, the station master stops the train with a ringing an alarm. Then the entire set of people from the train, they got down, they pushed the train was leaning on one side, they pulled the lady and took her out. Everything took only 8 seconds. Within 8 seconds, because everybody felt safety is very important, they all got down, and Japanese are very well known for their teamwork. They worked as a team, pushed the train and took her out. Since 1993, Japan Industrial Society and Health Association, this is called JISHA, has promoted Occupational Safety and Health Management System, OSHMS, to enhance workplace safety and health. Okay, so you can see on the right hand side the Anzan Daiichi, the green plus, and the slogan Anzan Daiichi. This is the flag that you can see. Maybe you will not see the wording and the person, only the thing. In 1972, Industrial Safety and Health Act has already been enacted. I'm not going to talk about any of the provisions of the Act, establishing a criteria for danger prevention to prevent work-related accidents. It served to clarify the responsibilities in the event of an accident, asked organizations to voluntarily promote measures to prevent accidents. So, Varumun Kapum, we have to take preventive actions. KIKEN YOCHI is hazard. KIKEN is hazard or danger, and YOCHI is prediction. Prediction, not prevention. KIKEN YOCHI is prediction. Training is a Japanese activity used to motivate members to recognize and predict hazards. It develops sensitivity to unsafe conditions and hazardous situations. So the idea is the workers must get the ability, like when anybody joins a company, he doesn't know any work, but he is being taught. He works as intern, trainee, and then similarly, everybody undergo a training in safety. And one of the things is, if this is a thing, it's a danger spot. They have to identify danger spots in their own work area. So this activity forces workers to think about consequences of an accident. Not only they look at hazardous conditions, they also look at the consequences of an accident. The activity increases the motivation for workers to practice in teams. In Japan, from the very, very young age, they all have been taught in the school how to work as a team. and the people get leadership. The seniors teach juniors, like that. It uses meetings to sharpen awareness of what constitution dangers. Okay, so the meetings are taking place because Japan is, you can see most of the time they get into different types of meeting. Any meeting they always say, Jizen Jumbi, that means anything that you do, you should be pretty well prepared to be there. So even KIKEN YOCHI training also, a lot of preparation goes to tell people what is happening. KYT is ongoing education and training to all with selected leaders. Some of the good motivational guys who got the enthusiasm and the spirit to lead, they're selected, and it is always the team members driven. So KIKEN YOCHI Hazard prediction, KIKEN YKK, Hazard prediction activity. KIKEN YOCHI Katsudo. K, and the last K stands for Katsudo. It's a Japanese word for activity. So these are the two general technical abbreviations used in Japan. KIKEN YOCHI is an activity done by working personnel in order to prevent accidents and disasters in anticipation of lurking danger. When we say lurking, this danger is somewhere hiding. We will not be able to see it, but suddenly, so தூணுக்கு பின்னால் எங்கேயோ ஒளிஞ்சிட்டு இருக்குது அந்த டேஞ்சர். அது எங்க நம்ம கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுல தான் நம்ம we become expert to avoid such dangers. So KIKEN YOCHI is anticipate lurking danger. Oh, இந்த இடத்துல இப்படி இருந்தா, if you see Japanese got a problem solving technique in which one of the things is anticipation of problems is one of the very, very important things. So you should anticipate hazardous situations by looking at places or spots from where dangerous things can happen. That is one thing that they always do in the training. In 1982, Sumitomo Metal Plant Japan compiled the safety plan for the worker in each workplace through PDCA cycle. You heard about PDCA cycle, I hope. This is what they call as Deming wheel, plan, do, check, act. Of course, a Deming has to come to Japan and tell them, oh, this is what you have to do when you solve a problem. You come out with a solution. Whether the solution works or not, whether the solution will remove the problem or not, you have to do PDCA. But if you go and ask your house, your mother, your wife, your sister, or some of the lady engineers we have, you all, when we get a guest to a house, what you do the same cycle. But nobody has talked about plan, do, check, act. But if you want to make a sambar, first thing you ask, how many guests? Okay, what do they like? What vegetarian, non-vegetarian, which is their preference, this or that. Then once you plan that, you put it into doing the sambar. Once you do the sambar, you check whether the spice or the salt is okay or something. Then put it on the act of serving to the customer. Then afterwards, you ask your son or brother or anybody, how is the sambar? Then you get some feedback. That feedback is the one that is fed into the cycle to go to the next plan. So the plan, do, check, act was famous Deming cycle. Today in Japan, there is the biggest award called Japan Quality Award, called Deming Award. You will be surprised. India is the country which has got the maximum number of Deming Awards outside Japan. Okay, there's been a lot of which. It is the procedure on the spot risk assessment, KIKEN YOCHI, and the group of workers for each work will discuss among themselves and about the hazard and risk plan for countermeasures and action plan before start any work. There's no point of starting a work, getting into a hazardous situation. They do all that work and then go on to the work. So the KIKEN method, the KIKEN YOCHI training method. Now, this is the same thing you all will be doing, but the process is what the Japanese always score above any of it. So there is a training in which the person says, they've got a standard, this is what do you think? And everybody's ideas about predictive hazards, then preventive measures, and then what are the safety objectives? Because what is it you're trying to solve with these preventive measures? And then if there is any difference between KIKEN YOCHI activities and risk assessment. Okay, if this happens, actually risk assessment is an outcome. Risk is an outcome of having dangerous situation. Okay, so both activities are essentially the same. That's because both predict the risk and hazardous involved so that we can prevent accidents. So where is the difference? Risk assessment is done during the work. KIKEN YOCHI is done before the work. However, purpose is to prevent an accident, disaster from occurring. Japan is very famous for a number of meetings. Okay, always there'll be meetings, there'll always be meetings. I was in a construction company as a trainee. So I went for my training on, that is 1966, I graduated from College of Engineering, Guindy. 1972, after 6 years, I went for my training. Every day we'll have, especially I being a civil engineer, used to have value engineering meetings. So in the office, there'll be 3 ladies. Most of them, their husbands were working with us and they have died. So the company has asked them to come and help us with giving us lunch in the afternoon, keeping the office clean. So one of them came and asked, every afternoon you're all sitting down and then having a meeting and talking. Meeting is very, very common. And everything, it's a group discussion, group discuss, analyze the situation, come to a conclusion. Then I said, this is value engineering. She said, what is value engineering? So my colleague, he explained by a single word saying, whatever you're doing today must be better than what you've done yesterday. Whatever you're going to do tomorrow must be better than what you're doing today. She said, yes, I have understood. I told him, what a simple way of explaining this. So next day when we came, the office was looking very different. From the roadside, she cut some flowers and put them in some pin cushions and then made the office look neat. So the meetings make a lot of efforts. Tremendous amount of output is generated out of meeting, the effectiveness. So KIKEN YOCHI basically starts with the meeting in which all the people who are involved as a team, they try to analyze and predict. Okay. Now, if you see prevention is better than cure, many organizations have a board like this. The last accident, when it happened and all that. We always say prevention. What is the idea of doing a postmortem without doing a preventive action? So in KIKEN YOCHI, we always say, don't look for a postmortem. Prevention is better. And if you look at accident, accidents happen. The fundamental base is the human behavior, or human beings are the ones who cause accident. It's not the machine or something. If somebody doesn't care about that, there could be an accident. So always comes out of some human error somewhere. Human error is an outcome of human behavior. Okay. So if you look at this pyramid, only 1 accident is recorded out of 10 that needed somebody to rush with a given first aid, and 30 injured, and 600 near misses. The Japanese are more worried about the near misses. That is where KIKEN YOCHI is coming into play. And then the whole thing is a pyramid. Most of the behavior and potential hazards, they become the base. Okay. And this is the level which we are trying to work KIKEN YOCHI training. Supervisor or the leader, he trains a team. Okay. Now, how does he train? He shows illustration. So first they make a plan of the workplace, and then go with them in the workplace, walk around. See, we call workplace in Japanese as gemba. So some of you would have done some work with the auto industry. The Toyota's thing is, they always say 3G. You go to the gemba and see what is happening with your own eyes. Don't wait for a report. All reports will always help. You create your own this thing. Examine what has happened, collect the facts. So they take the people with a workplace plan, walk around, and then decide where all hazards can lurk in. Well, he supervisor takes the lead on this thing, and he demonstrates the work in real situation on the site from his own experience, discuss in small groups hazardous factors in the workplace and in work conditions. Bring out from the team by questioning. Okay, they have some card system. They also have a card system in which He gives a situation, they all write different cards, they are put into the board, then the cards are arranged so that they can come to one conscious, group conscious of consciousness of what could be the vital causes for this thing. And discuss with the team, bring out the ideas on type of accident that may arise from such factors and determine the danger points, and the kind of action to take to prevent such accident, and confirming those with pointing and calling. We'll also see some videos on pointing and calling. This is something that not many countries outside Japan, they do. It's almost a specialty. Even Americans have seen this point and calling. It is meticulously planned after a huge training in Japanese railways, and pointing and staying out loud together. You can, if you go to Japan, go into the station, suddenly you will see the station master, the guard, everybody showing the hand, finger, everything, and shouting very loudly something in Japanese. So we'll see what is it. KYK, Kiken Yochi Katsudo, risk forecasting activities. Katsudo is activity, or practical implementation of KYT, Kiken Yochi training. KYK activity is done before the work is started. Okay, there's no point of doing the work and then getting into hazardous situation. People forecast risk factors regarding the site, product, machinery, etc. Determine safety actions to be carried out to prevent disasters due to human error. KYK is carried by individual worker or by a group of workers that the team decides. KYK has been introduced in many Japanese companies that resulted in visually seen, tangible results. Now, absolute safety does not exist anywhere. Even though we can see effects of dangers easily, the safety hazards are much harder to spot. Okay. Moreover, the environment where we work is not permanent. The environment can change due to the variety of conditions. So try to visualize these invisible safety hazards that are there at your workplace. That is where you become very good accident or hazard preventing expert. So over a period of, how do people learn? People learn out of your own experience. Experience is the greatest way you can create your own wisdom. So if you have seen, observed, take. Not when there is an accident, don't rush for your mobile phone to take a selfie with the victim. Because if you don't understand how this has happened, you may be a victim another day. Now, carry Kiken Yochi every day. Carrying Kiken Yochi activities every day always predict hazards so they can develop awareness. Where is the hazard lurking? Where is this hiding? Let's think about it. Accident disasters are prevented, and they can be definitely prevented. Okay, and please try KY activities at your workplace for yourselves. Okay, KYT, Kiken Yochi training increases motivation at workplace. This method increases motivation of workers practice, because this is one training in which you can visibly see the effect of the training, because you see after a training you start practicing, you see number of accidents falling. Unfortunately, we say wear your face mask. The amount of money the government has to spend every day shouting through their thing in every channel, every telephone call you make, they say wear your mask, and that's what we don't do. So this is we have a different culture. So that's why I told you in my first slide, they are creating a safe country and creating safe awareness from the childhood. When there was a child, the child thinks I can go safely and come back. So that is something that we are doing. When we see we are wearing a mask like a beard, then not on the face. This is what is going to happen in this country. So at least in our own workplace, we have to create safe environment so that every day evening we should go home to our waiting families safely. It uses meetings to sharpen awareness. Workers share information on hazards and improve their problem-solving capabilities by working and finding solutions in a meeting. Very interestingly, though I was a civil engineer, after 26 years, I quit civil engineering. I went into IT. I went for marketing in IT. Next 26 years, was in the Japanese IT market, working with almost all the leading IT companies. I was heading my company as marketing as a vice president marketing. We wrote in a lot of CEGNs for employment, people from all other colleges. We wrote a number of boys and girls. We taught them Japanese and we put them in Japanese customers. Many of them are still staying back. Many of them moved to US. But with all of them, one thing that I've understood is people who had gone to Japan, they always said, we learned a lot of things. Because the Japanese say one problem with the Indian IT engineers, if they have a problem, there is a solution. They never want to discuss the problem with the team members. Because if the many Indians think, that's what my Japanese said, whether you people agree or don't agree, they think by sharing your problems, people may look down at you. And we think information is power. And more you hold in your hand your information, you become powerful. But information is really powerful, it can burn your fingers. They improve their power concentration by practicing point and calling activities of the important points of work. Okay. There is also zero accident campaign based on basic philosophy of respecting human life and dignity, valuing each individual. There are companies which are saying zero accident, total participation. The campaign targets creating a vital, vibrant, safe workplace by aiming for ultimate goal of zero accidents, zero diseases. The campaign also works to solve dangerous situations in the workplace through everyone participating. This is what is important. And prioritizing safety and health from the start, which is preventing accidents and diseases. Because anybody, even one person has an accident, it puts a lot of pressure on the team. His work has got to be shared by others. Until he comes on, productivity, quality, everything is going to come down. And in hazard prediction training based on KYT, there are 4 basic round methods. We'll also see what are the 4 basic round methods. And the training is operational directing STK. S stands for Sagyo, is the work. T is team. And K is KIKEN YOCHI, hazard prediction training. On a supervisory level, there is workplace, team, hazard prevention training for some, because the supervisor got to lead the team, and individual KIKEN YOCHI by asking questions. The supervisor to bring out by asking questions their observation power. Many times we observe, but we don't say, because we think நம்ம சொல்ற பதில் தப்பா இருக்குமோ அப்படின்ற ஒரு பயத்திலே விட்டுறோம். And 1 point KIKEN YOCHI on a team level identifying danger points. And then we also have SKYT, short-term KYT, KIKEN YOCHI training, individual KIKEN YOCHI training, answering self-questioning. You are yourself. What is going to happen? See, because you are also observing, you are doing, okay, you can ask your own question. And then we have the 4R. 4R stands for the 4 round. We'll see what is it. And one of the important things is you must promote KIKEN YOCHI training right through the organization, through meetings and studying past disasters. Experience is the biggest guru that you can have. The 4 rounds method is what you have to see. Round 1, where are the hidden hazards? Understanding actual situation. Round 2, these are the danger points. That is, investigating the reality. These are danger points, these are the risks. And round 3, establishing countermeasures. And round 4, action plan for applying countermeasures, setting target. This is a very, very common sense based, logical step. You understand the situation, understand the reality. Oh, this is the thing. Out of your own experience, observations, with your team's knowledge, everybody's expertise, you arrive at countermeasures, which the whole team agrees. And then you try the countermeasures, setting your own targets. What are you trying to achieve through the countermeasures? These are the 4 rounds that we have. Round 1, leader will explain the activity for that week, explain actually what the team will be observing or reviewing, like a specific job task, visual review of which area they have to. This week we'll be analyzing this week. Please kindly observe this area. The team will review the area or job as instructed by the leader. Each member should look for a potential hazard in each step of the job or the area. What do we see? What could go wrong? What potential hazards are there? Your observation is very, very important. The leaders help to develop, implement program with strong message that all members should understand. If an imminent danger is ever recognized, would require immediate elimination or correction, the line will immediately stop. Okay? If you think there is a danger. So that's why the Toyota, when they said, they become either danger or quality on the line. If they find a problem, any worker will have that. That's where the freedom has come to the worker level, the independence of the worker level. They have a switch next to them. Every worker just press the switch, the line stops. It's on the lamp, the red lamp, the siren comes, the supervisor, the other guys, they'll start running to you. So the worker gets the priority of stopping the line. Many cases you cannot stop a line in an Indian company. I don't know how many companies, unless they have moved to Japanese type of workplace management, they will not do that. Round 2, leader will ask the team quickly to brainstorm, identify any potential hazards. Brainstorming is getting everybody's ideas, mind. Leader or recorder will list these potential hazards. The team will look at the list and select one potential hazard, which is the top priority, and then concern of the team. You can use the different techniques are there. One is like benefit analysis. I'm not going into those techniques because that's outside the KIKEN YOCHI thing, but there are techniques by which out of the brainstorm number of items, you can identify this is a thing based on urgent, important, and growth trend. There's the 3 parameters on which we select what is most important. The team must agree. This is very important. In Japan, everybody should agree till the last man agrees. They'll keep on discussing about it. Round 3, leader will ask the team quickly brainstorm and identify countermeasures that should be put into place to eliminate the selected potential hazard. Leader record will list the potential countermeasures, and the team will be asked to select the best countermeasure. Always you do a brainstorm, come with number of ideas, select the best. And then the round 4, leader will verbally review the activity results with the members and ask members what could be done to prevent the incident until countermeasures are fully implemented. This is short term. You have a countermeasure. The countermeasure implementation is going to take some time. But till then, what are we supposed to do? A short term must be analyzed and arrive at which you should be able to implement easily. What is important is accessibility. Anything that we do, we say accessibility, implementation, the speed are very important, such as making all members work in the area aware of the potential hazard, coaching, warning, training, okay, all that thing. What can we do now? This is called the action item or short-term countermeasure for the activity. The action item can actually be an opportunity for teaching the team. The team leader will, or the volunteer team member will log all the activities, the KYT log. KYT activities, if you see group discussion, everybody agrees, arrive at a countermeasure, and then they all try to fix up a countermeasure for 0 accidents, and then carry out, and then they have achieved the target. Okay, we have done that. Sequence of this 4 are summary. First round, current work situation. Look at the current work situation. What are the potential hazards involved in our work? Okay. Round 2, identify hazards. This is the hazard. Round 3, what should we do to the countermeasure? Round 4, set the target and write down the KY sheet for these rounds. I have a KY sheet. Right, each round you write it down. Okay. Now we also know Kipling said I had 6 honest serving men. You know who are the 6 honest serving men? I keep 6 honest serving men. Their names are what, why, when, and how, and where, and who. I send them over land and sea, send them east and west. But after which they work for me, I give them all rest. That's what is poem, which is nothing other than IW and 1H is right like that. If you see in the area of KIKEN YOCHI, when every day before the start of work, where at the workplace, who foreman and all work, supervisor and all workers, where to share hazard related information with workers and discuss how to avoid predictable hazards. Why? so that all workers can work safely and go home safely. And how do we do that? All by meeting. This is a 5W1H is what we do here. Now, pointing and calling. Pointing and calling is a method in occupational safety for avoiding mistakes by pointing at important indicators, calling out the status. It is common in Japan railways. It's sometimes referred to by as Japanese term shisa kanko, or shisa kokuin kanko, yubisashi kanko, a different name. All that it says, you point and call. Okay, I'll also show you some videos. If you see all Japanese train drivers, when they cross a signal or they enter into the platform, they have to point and call. This is a signal at 8th kilometer I've crossed. Now, so they all have a clock in front of them. This is the time 8 hours, 40 minutes and 25 seconds I cross the signal at 60 kilometer speed. All that has got to be, they will have to point the signal, and each signal has got a number they have to. All that will get recorded in case there is an accident. This is like a black box in every train that can be removed and seen whether the driver has followed all the things. That becomes a big instrument for training. Make a tight, how do we do that? You can see that in the next picture. You see, close your fingers, point your all kattu viral. So this is what in Japanese also we call it as ito sasu yubi. Ito means all, sasu kattu yubi viral. All kattu viral is like that. Kindly don't write anything on your screen because that comes in the screen. Okay, people are saying please don't do that. Now, if you have a problem, I will also show you. All that you have to do is to put your pointing finger, look at wherever is a problem or wherever you think there is going to be assault. You just call it, or if you have achieved some target, you show it and loudly call. Why loudly call? So they have done some experiment which will also show you. Only pointing and calling and pointing, there is a variation in the amount of results that they have got. Now, I was going in the train. There is a supervisor who runs along with the driver is a young girl who was on the other side. This lady was seeing whether the girl is doing things correct. Okay. Now, it's in a company, if they're watching a drawing and to be done, everybody will say. The method was first used by train divers, because those days in Japan, we didn't have the electric trains. We had only steam locomotives. There were two drivers, and unlike the electric train, the steam locomotives, they used to have the doors open because it's very hot. And if this driver, there'll be a driver peeping out on the right-hand side, that's the time one fellow will be taking the cold. Whatever he has to do, he has to shout. Okay, so that's how the shouting has come into the thing. It is now recommended by Japan Industrial Safety and Health Association, JISHA, pointing. Now even bus drivers do that. Pointing and calling has become a standard thing. The method originated in Japan in 1900. The train drivers calling status as a signal. Back in the time, steam locomotives were common in use. Drivers call out loudly to hear each other. Okay. Now, let me just tell me, were you able to hear the audio thing?
On every platform and every train in Tokyo, employees in
Yes,
red gloves are always pointing at things. These almost ritualistic gestures might look a bit silly, but they're crucial to keeping Japan's massive train network running smoothly. And they might even save lives. Tokyo operates one of the most advanced train networks in the world, carrying upward of 13 billion passenger trips each year. And with hundreds of trains entering and leaving stations each day, station attendants need to be vigilant. To ensure smooth, safe rail operations, they use a technique called shisa kanko, also known as pointing and calling. Attendants point at anything that could be a hazard, from making sure the track is clear of debris before trains arrive, to confirming timetables and making sure gauges and instruments are in order. But does all this extra gesturing actually do anything? How does it work? Studies have shown that pointing to an object and verbalizing your intended action increases attention and awareness, making it harder to mess up. A landmark study by the Japan Railway Technical Research Institute found that employing the combination of pointing and calling reduced errors by 85%. Daito Suzuki and Yohei Sato are experts in pointing and calling, and they should be. Their company makes safety simulators, some of which are designed specifically for practicing the technique.
The ratio of mistake without confirmation method is 2.5%. But applying point and calling procedure, so it can reduce 0.4%.
With 140 buttons laid out on a grid, workers follow the on-screen coordinates and push the correct button. Get it right and get a chime, get it wrong or take too long, and Suzuki and Sato say these machines are necessary because a lot of people in Japan, well, don't see the point in pointing and calling. Sato says there are 3 main reasons people don't like shisakanko.
恥ずかしい。めんどくさい。上司がやらない。上司がやらない。
And of course, people just feel like it's extra work.
やった方が楽じゃないですか。実は楽ですよ。っていうと皆さん、楽な手段だったらいいよね。ということを教えているのが僕らの研修センターですね。
Pointing and calling isn't only used in Tokyo, and it's not just used on trains. Amidst the constant frenzy of activity at Ishigaki Airport in Okinawa, workers of all stripes can be observed using shisakanko. We even caught Mr. Sato and Suzuki dutifully confirming traffic was clear with a quick point. The practice really doesn't need to be limited to white-gloved professionals. We've all been there. Where are my keys? Did I remember to lock my car? So the next time you leave the house, take a cue from Japan's massive rail network and give pointing and calling a try.
Every visitor to Japan notices the unique way railway staff are always pointing and calling. It's actually a highly effective safety technique developed here in Japan. Physical movements and vocalizations are a proven way to increase concentration and reduce errors when performing any task. Pointing and calling help us to ensure passenger safety. The railways provide a service that's essential to people's lives, and these techniques help us fully concentrate on every job. This is how the method works. First, he focuses completely on the item to be checked. Here, the train is about to depart, and he's confirming that there's no one at the edge of the platform. He calls out the name of the item being checked and firmly points in that direction. When he's visually confirmed that all is clear, he calls out, OK. The practice is said to have been invented by a steam locomotive operator about a century ago. Japan's railway systems still rely on it today. Scientific tests have conclusively proven that the method is effective. We gave test subjects a simple task: press the button that matches the color displayed on the screen. Some subjects were told to both point and call the color first. Others were told to just press the button. The error rates were then compared. The results were clear. Far more errors were made by those who only pressed the button, while those who pointed and called made the least errors. It was very obvious. Errors fell by about 85%. Neuroscientists have also studied these techniques. We found that it increased blood flow in the front brain, so we can assume that doing this is also stimulating brain activity. Pointing activates the brain's frontal lobes, which govern judgment and attentiveness. After the efficacy of pointing and calling was scientifically verified, the practice was standardized. A Other industries and businesses now send their workers to learn the method. Construction sites can be dangerous places to work. Here, pairs of workers are using pointing and calling to check their safety equipment. They continue to point and call as they move around the worksite. And in this pre-work session, they use it to focus everyone's minds on maintaining safety. Pointing and calling prevents hospital errors that endanger lives. It's used when dispensing medication, when checking the amount and type of drug for an intravenous injection, and to confirm each patient's name on blood samples. It's essential that we don't make mistakes when dealing with patients. This method is a great help in checking that everything is correct. The New York subway was the first overseas operator to implement this proven Japanese safety technique, finding it to be highly effective. The word has spread, and you soon might see pointing and calling in your country too.
It's very interesting to see the pointing and calling. We have seen a lot of news that the person goes instead of the left eye, they have operated the right eye, which has happened in many other hospitals in India. Okay. Pointing and calling can be of great help. I'm not very good in my health. Many times I get admitted. They also put a wristband with your name, everything. But nobody points and calls. Okay, these are the very, very simple, basic things with which a lot of hazardous things or the future this thing can be. And every time they say yes, Yosh. Though it is written as Yoshi, it is Shisha Kanko, and they have to stretch their arm and say Yosh. You may be wondering what is this for which there is a trainer and everybody is standing there just saying Yosh, Yosh. But it has got tremendous amount of impact on solving hazardous cases. So maybe construction industry, wherever we have the problem, this could be one of the things, even our own railways. I remember in those days, now it's different. My earlier days, I don't know. In Central Station, the guard will be standing on the platform, and then he'll blow a whistle, then he'll wave the green flag, and then the train will start, and he'll just run and get into the train, because they are all used to getting into the train in motion. Once the conductor, or the train conductor, or what you call guard, waved, and the train moved, and he tried to catch up, he couldn't do. And the train got stuck in Perambur. Next stop was Perambur. He didn't have a guard. So this fellow has to take an auto and then go run behind him. And then only. So if there is a point and calling, even the station, the train guard, after getting into the train, in all the trains, they have to close the door, put their hand outside and show, yes, everybody has got inside, all the doors are shut, and I am in, I have also shut my door. There are times, if you see last compartment, all Indian trains, they'll have a board called LB, last man. Sometimes the board falls. The people, that's why the station master is supposed to say, Yosh, the LB board is there, this is the last one. Okay, so how to implement KIKEN YOCHI Katsudo, okay? Identify the potential risk and work spot, select the hazard, propose countermeasures, action. And then every day before the start of work. And then Gemba is the place. Gemba is where we work, where the human error can come in. There are a number of things we do in the thing, movements, operator missions, everything. We all do. And they say human behaviors cause unsafe, human beings cause unsafe behavior. If you see what are the things that they have, there are two things. One is human error. The other one is, I really don't care. Okay, whatever happens, like our helmet on the petrol tank, they come into the second. where they violate, knowingly they violate. In the human error activities, limit of human capacity. That's all he can do. Mistakes, forgetfulness, lack of knowledge and skill, unable to see, listen, or remember, that's his limit in capacity. And then mixing up assumption or misunderstanding. These are some of the things that Japanese use in their training to the people as a part of the standards that they teach. Okay, not thinking, forgetfulness. He comes with his problems of house, and then lack of knowledge and skill. So that's where the risk taking. Somebody says, okay, whatever happens, I'll take care. Definition of human error: human error caused by behavior of human activities, which cause unintended results. That's not the result we expected. Mistakes or failures can definitely happen. Basic characteristics of human beings: our memory is not perfect. Let's all understand. Don't ever claim, I can do anything and my memory is very good. Sorry, there could be a limitation to that. People sometimes work carelessly and overlook details. Somebody talking on bringing a spanner, on the way he sees a friend, stops for a minute. That 1 minute is the time when may get hit by a forklift truck. So, and people sometimes get things wrong, and people see only things that they want to see. There are a number of things they think I should watch for a forklift truck. They may not see a crane that's moving on top with a hook. Okay, these are the reasons why human errors occur. So we say how human error. One is recognition. We are insisting this human error is something that we keep projecting in the case of KIKEN YOCHI. Recognition, ignorance, okay, inexperience, lack of knowledge, judgment, okay, and then recognition, also false recognition, wrong interpretation of fact or a situation, judgment, misjudgment of a situation, and then behavior, accidental, acted other than one's intention. I want to do, but by mistake I do something. Intentionally I make a mistake. That is where the risk taker comes. And then incompetent, okay, ability not enough to handle the job. Okay. Human error has been divided into 12 different ways. Ignorance, neglect of danger, carelessness, a lack of communication, defect in safety, taking shortcuts, human instinct, panic, surprise, illusion, okay, and then fatigue. You've been working. This happens most of the time. The truck drivers and car drivers, they just come back from a night drive to a long distance. Again, they are given to he goes into an accident. Okay, and then decline in body strength because he has become old, but still his children are not there, nobody to support them, he has to go to work. Okay, you can see there are people like watchmen who are very old, so they've been put in nursing, and they are sitting in front of the ATM. And the guys who come to rob the ATM, they're much more stronger than these guys. They just one shot, this fellow is gone. Okay, so these are the human errors causes, and it's also a necessity from the cost perspective, because it is not that we are only talking about human side of it. Even for an organization, any accident will cost a lot of money, because you have to have compensation, your work is stopped, productivity is gone, quality is gone, number of things are there. Now, this is something that we need to do. I don't know whether Indian thing. This is called Hiari Hatto. Hiari Hatto. H-I-Y-A-R-I-E-R-I Hatto is near miss. Near miss. Generally speaking, accident means an event. There is the possibility to cause an accident, but does not, fortunately, has not caused an obstacle or damage. Okay, this is an incident. An accident could have happened, but we just missed. It is often called a near miss or hiariato as a Japanese name. A near miss item definitely should be reported. It is not an accident, but could have become an accident, but just missed. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard about this law called Henry's law. Now, Henry's law says, if you have one major accident, you have at least 30 minor accidents, and 10 times of that are near misses, and 10 times of that are the unsafe conditions. That is why that's what we call as the devil. Henry calls it as the devil. Out of 3,000 devils, definitely 10% will go near miss, and 10% of that will be minor accident, and then at least one of that will be a major accident. That is Henry's law. So near miss must be reported, near miss must be understood. What are the causes? How did we miss that very? You cannot get hit and then say, oh, தலைக்கு வந்தது தலைப்பாயோட போச்சுது, அதுதான் நியர் மிஸ். அந்த தலைப்பாயை தேடணும், இப்போ யாரும் தலைப்பாயோட விட்டுறக்கூடாது. அதே மாதிரி ஒர்க் ஃப்ளோ டயக்ராம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ஒர்க் பிளான், ஐடென்டிஃபை பிளேஸ் சேஃப்டி இஷ்யூஸ், தென் ஜாப் சேஃப்டி அனாலிசிஸ், ப்ரொசீஜர்ஸ், கேதர் அட் த ஒர்க் பிளேஸ் மீட்டிங், KY discussion at the site, record in toolbox. I'll tell you what is a toolbox meeting in the next slide. Then job executed. 5S, we also need to talk about 5S a little bit, and workplace safety process. Toolbox meeting are also called as crew talks or tailgate meeting or short meeting that companies hold to discuss issues primarily focus on safety topics. Toolbox meetings are informal and are often held first thing during the work or work day or work week. Workplace safety topics are subjects such as behavior safety, electrical safety, workplace safety, chemical safety. All these things can be topics for a small meeting at the workplace by the workers. Workers' safety and mind. Also may share safety files such as images, videos, all that what has happened to share the experience is done. Now, I don't know how many of you heard about this 5S. Unfortunately, many books written by American authors, followed by Indian authors, have changed their names into equivalent 5S in English, which is not really reflecting the true sense of meaning. They're called as Seiri, Seiton, Seizo, Seikitsu, Shitsuke. In simple terms, Seiri, we have got a lot of things lying all over the place. We have a tendency to accumulate. We are not having a tendency to throw them out. So one of the worst things that can happen, it is research has found nearly 20% of your time is spent only in searching for things at the workplace or at your house. So why is that you are searching? Because number of things. One is forgetfulness, what is it? Unwanted and wanted things are mixed together. So first thing is, whatever is not needed, you have to remove it. So how do we find out what is not needed? So simple thing, on all the things which are lying in your workplace, attach a red slip, what we call as a red tag. And every time you take out that thing to use, you say you fix up a time, 1 month. Within that 1 month, whatever I take for my work, I remove the slip. At the end of 1 month, you will see many things or some things lying there still with a red tag, which means for the last 1 month, you have never even used it once. Then why is it is lying there? It is occupying workspace, which is very prestigious and a very primary location. So remove them to a different place. That is Seiri, what is needed, what is not needed, segregate பண்றதா Seiri. Simple terms. அதுக்கப்புறம் Seito. எடுத்ததை வேலைக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி you have to store it. First in, first out, FIFA. And then you have to use ergonomics so that the person is able to use it. And ஒரு storage place எவ்வளோ கொள்ளுமோ அவ்வளோதான் வைக்கலாம். இதெல்லாம் அதுக்கு மேலே வச்சிங்கன்னா உடஞ்சிச்சுன்னா சேஃப்டி போயிடும். That is Seiton, is how to store. For everything there must be a place and everything must be stored in that place. Next is Seizo. Seizo is, they say cleaning. I am not agreeing. Seizo is more than cleaning. It is inspection, cleaning, and then arriving at its conclusion. All that is a part of Seizo. It is not தொடர்பு எடுத்து பெருக்கிற மாதிரி கிடையாது. You should be able to talk and communicate to your thing. Now, Seiton also gives you change your workplace. எங்க என்ன வச்சிருக்கோம் அதெல்லாம் வச்சு the workplace becomes a visual workplace. பார்த்தா என் போல்ட் எங்க இருக்கு, ஸ்பேன் எங்க இருக்கு. So everything should be visible. And then Seiketsu is to bring in some standard. This is the first three. We do a thing and exactly do like that. And then Shitsuke, you bring in a self-discipline into you. Everything what you do, all the four, must become your second nature. We have work manuals. We do as per the manuals. And then without any this thing, anybody forcing you, you should develop an attitude to maintain all. So this will reduce the number of accidents at workplace. Okay. Adhe mari health management is a part of 5S. Now, benefits of KIKEN YOCHI is everyday practice for each work. On-the-spot activities gather details, knowledge of a problem. Participation, involvement of all workers. Avoiding unsafe act. On-the-spot countermeasure will prevent chances of an accident. Self-development and discipline at workplace. Workers return to families safely. Cost benefit to organization and self. Achievement of KIKEN YOCHI is sharpen our sensitivity in noticing any hazards. That is what we call as sensitize the people to hazards. Increase our abilities to focus on hazard, and improve the problem-solving ability of hazard, solving ability. These are the three achievements you get. Problem-solving by itself is another bigger topic that has got to be dealt separately. But in general, the 4R, the 4-round, the simple problem-solving. So that's also there. Now, the purpose of KY is to prevent human error, because human error is at the bottom of all this cost. Therefore, our policy is don't get injured, your family is waiting, so you go back home safely. We cannot buy human life with any amount of money. Okay, so worker suffers a serious accident, is not only the victim, the families also will be victim as well. Okay, so thank you for your attention up to this. I just want to show you another 10 minutes I have. I want to show you one or two case studies for your information, some cases. Now, you see this unsafe condition. There's a guy who is lifting a load on top and somebody who is sitting down here, and then he's trying to show signs to the crane operator who's sitting above. This is one of the most dangerous things. Placing the signaling should not be done at the same time. Same person should not do the placing and signaling. KY call, do not work under a loading crane. Okay, this is one of the riskiest the thing. Now this guy needs a lot of KIKEN YOCHI training, but this is a very, very unsafe condition to work. Now, unsafe condition, person doing painting in underground tank. Okay, rescue facility is not available. In case something goes wrong, how does he come? So most of the things, I was, my software company got merged along with the SRM, become SRM software technology. At that time, SRM Tech was originally my company and SRM together. Then I also worked with them for almost 8 years. At that time, I brought a lot of trainees from Japan. And then they have an international hostel where the Japanese trainees were staying. The one question they all ask, okay, you've got a beautiful training center, everything is fine. But where is the fire escape? Everybody has to come through the central staircase. SRM immediately took it up, and both ends, they created separate staircase, breaking the wall so that people can get off. That's a very, very important thing. The Japanese said, unless you have that, we cannot bring our trainees to training to SRM. And SRM immediately responded, they did the thing. Okay, so in this case, how do you think that fellow? So there must be a confined painting procedure to be followed. Spotter should be present because there must be somebody who is there who should say, oh, something wrong, okay. No material should be kept near the opening. You see, something happens, he puts it more, it may even fall on his head. Okay. This again, KIKEN YOCHI must be followed for this. The thing is, this guy is grinding. and no goggles. Not use such a hand gloves, goggles, mask. This is a very, very common thing I've seen. Roadside, there are a lot of guys who are doing welding. Wheel cover not found on the grinding. You can also put his hand. Many material lying on the work table. And so this is something that you should, people protective equipment must be used. But the point in these things is, all these things, the people who have been operating under these things, they have not understood that whatever they are doing is hazardous. They think, today I have to do this much. I don't know what you'll do. Finish so much work is what people say. And that's what they say. Okay, I stop here. Thank you very much. And any questions, please? If it is so, please, you can even come back through chat box. Satya, thank you very much. Any questions, please kindly ask.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for a very wonderful presentation and about sharing your experience. It's always delightful to hear from you and to learn from you. Thank you, sir. And we can able to wait for the questions. The type of questions can be posted in the chat box.
14 chats. But wonderful to see so many engineers from leading institutions, and all the very best. Work safely is what I would tell all the guys.
Sir, on behalf of the participants, I have one question, sir.
Yes, please.
We have been trying to incorporate this safety culture in our country. Once the engineers or the graduates, after they have been entering into the workplace, is it right? Or like you have been told from Japanese culture, we have to integrate this from the school level itself, sir?
So there are a number of things that we need to do, not only this, especially for engineering students. What I always say, one thing is safety. Second is some basics of statistics for the school students, not necessarily only mathematics. All engineers must have some knowledge of statistics, because that is the way that will help you to solve that. And we only have one paper, I understand, in TQM. I don't know whether we have that for all branches of engineering or only mechanical, or we have no TQM. We need to have that also. And one more on people management. Because at the end of the day, when you go out of it, college, we are going to manage people, we are going to manage many things. The most important thing is, how do you get acceptance from your team? That's what is very, very okay, there's one question so these are some, definitely safety must be introduced from the thing, but not only safety should be introduced, but how do we, for example, in Japan, children clean their own classrooms, clean their own toilets in the school and go. We cannot ask our children to even clean their thing, then the parents will be in front of the thing. And the management will also exploit them. It's both ways, it's a thing. And unfortunately, we need to look at our own educational system, but unfortunately, nobody will listen to us. We are on the other end of the receiving. And there's somebody who has asked Mr. Kunte. I'm sorry, there is such dictionaries are available, but not in India. Okay. Yeah, definitely like your ISO, even better than your ISO. I've given you the thing, but unfortunately, I'm not very well versed with the standards. But there is an organization which is only doing, especially industrial standard. For every industry, there is a standard. This is all set. So there's definitely available. No issues at all. But Kunte, you don't have to worry about it. Japanese, so Indians, we basically, if you look at it, we are multilingual guys. So Japanese language grammar is almost similar to any of the Indian languages, contrary to English. Therefore, for us to learn at least spoken Japanese as engineers, it's very simple and easy. Of course, IT engineers, you may have to work with the computers. So their read and write is needed. But rest of the stuff, if you start working in the Japanese company, what you need to know is not the terminology. How do you work with the Japanese people? That is what is needed. If somebody is interested, tomorrow we have a different program. That's again a free program. You can register, you can call my office, they will register you. How do we work with people there? That's what is important. So don't worry about terminology. If you work in a particular industry, you will get used to the terminologies of that industry. Not a problem.
Sir, there is one question which has been asked by Mr. Srinivasan. Can you briefly share about JISHA? JISHA.
I'm sorry, that's not, very honestly, I told you very beginning, go into the Google, that's my master. That's not my area of expertise. I've been only in civil engineering and IT, but safety, because I was in the construction industry and worked with a company called Toa Harbour Works in port construction. So that is where the idea of safety came in, and lived there. Because I lived there, I understand the country and its passion and approach to safety. But if you want very specific things, kindly go into the Google and say, unfortunately, I'm sorry, my friend, I am not well versed in that particular thing.
So another one question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I'm working as HSC officer, and I also learned N5, but I
what
not
officer?
given the exam. N5 in Japanese.
Okay. No. What are you working as?
No, I'm working in a HSC field, HSC officer.
Health and safety officer, sir.
Oh, okay.
Health and safety environment. Okay. Yeah. Actually, in the last time, I learned the Japanese also N5, but I not still given exam. So I want to ask whether Japanese plus safety officer is added advantage in the Japanese companies in India.
No. How many years of experience do you have?
No, I'm having nearly 6 years experience.
6 years. You're Mr. Anand, right?
Yes.
Mr. Anand, ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா உங்களுக்கு சொல்லணும்னா உங்க ஒர்க் வந்து ஜாப்பனீஸ் மேனுவல் படிக்கணும் அந்த மாதிரி ஏதாவது இருந்ததுன்னா யோர் N5 இஸ் வெரி வெரி ப்ரிலிமினரி. அதை விட நல்லா பேசுனீங்கன்னா 6 வருஷம் உங்களுக்கு ஜாப்பனீஸ் கம்பெனில போயிருங்க. நீங்க வந்து எவ்ரிடே எழுதி காட்டுறது. இப்போ ஐடி கம்பெனில டெய்லி கம்ப்யூட்டர் முன்னாடி உட்காந்துருக்கணும். They have to key in the programs, everything they have to do. Okay.
Yes.
Mechanical, you have to do drawing. If you have to read drawings, okay, you have to interpret drawing. Adalla N5 is very very preliminary. It will not take you much. To that level ஓடணும்னா N3 ஆவது இருக்கணும் நீங்க. அதை விட I would recommend a spoken Japanese, which is much more easier. Within 100 hours, if you put your mind without any hesitation, without bothering about making mistakes, you keep talking in Japanese, you will know what is Japanese.
Okay.
அதனால நீங்க ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டு N5 எல்லாம் படிக்கணும்னு சொல்லவே மாட்டேன். Because I'm the one who's conducting JLPT for the last 20 years in Tamil Nadu. I mean, down south. So, you can take my advice on that, and not because of anything else, but I know what N5 will take you. And unga program, if you are a fresher, okay, you can always do N5 and for another 2-3 years.
Okay.
I think we should look at the other way. Spoken Japanese.
Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Also, I've been displayed the
I saw that.
programs.
Thank you, Satya. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
all.
Lord.
Thank you all very much. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm sorry. The pandemic has made us all invisible participants in all things. Someday we'll all be seeing each other person face to face. So. Okay.
Sure,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you, sir. I welcome Mr. Perumal, sir, for giving the vote of thanks. Perumal,
Thank
sir.
you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Today it's another great day to have Mr. Ranganathan sir with us for wonderful presentation on hazard prediction. And I am very sure, at least for next 2 months, people will be thinking about only KIKEN YOCHI. All HSC professional, the moment they get into their workshop or even their design room or any kind of work, they'll be thinking about KIKEN YOCHI for at least next 2 months. I'm sure about it, sir. And very new thing, new terminology, new way of looking at the things have been learned from you today. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. Even the point I'm following, even though it's just 2 words, that 2 word, it's really impressive and it can really cut down many hazardous situations. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you
All
so
the
much.
very best. All of you enjoy your weekend very, very safely. That's what I can recommend. Enjoy your life. Be excellent engineers. Lead your teams very well. Give everybody a very safe environment to work with. Thank you all very much. Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Perumal, sir. The feedback form has been floated in the chat box. You can able to fill that feedback form. Thank you, Ranganathan, sir, once again for your very valuable time, sir. Thank you, sir.
Whenever you call, always I'll say yes. You're my brother. So,
kindly send the files.
Sure,
okay.
sir. You can able to fill the feedback form. Once we have been sending the feedback form, we can able to send it. Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Ranganathan, sir. Have a great weekend.
Right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Dear participants, kindly fill the feedback form. By filling the feedback forms, we can able to get your mail ID and we can able to send the presentation. Thank you once again. See you all next week with the next new topic. Thank you all.